Hello, my name's Stephen, and this is Joe.
This is Joe.
And welcome to the Stephen and Joe show this week. What have you been up to?
Not a lot, really. Had a bit of a relax. I've done a lot of gigs recently.
Right.
I'm
gonna move. I'm just
done a
shifting
lot of work
my
recently, so
position.
yeah, nice to just take things a little bit easier and
Right. Just relax.
yeah. I've been watching a few things. I watched Apocalypto.
Right.
The Mel Gibson film.
So a lot of people didn't like, but
yeah, it got a lot of
I thought
mixed
it was all right. I
press.
thought it was quite good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was beautifully shot.
That's actually the same thing with Passion of the Christ. Actually, I thought that his direction is really coming on. Really does look good, even if some of the subject matter is a little bit galling.
I haven't seen Passion of the Christ yet, so I can't comment. And judging by the press that it's got, I think it's going to be one of those things I'm going to watch to form an opinion rather than enjoy watching it.
I watched it at the time, and I don't think I want to watch it again.
Oh,
It doesn't interest me that much.
that's fair enough.
You know.
Apocalypto, I would happily watch again. I really enjoyed it. It got a lot of unusual press. It got billed very strangely when it first came out, and I kind of avoided it for that reason. I just thought it didn't sound like the kind of thing. But at its core, it's just an action and adventure story following Mayan people. But it's subtitled, which I think puts a lot of people off. But being a fan of things like Japanese anime, where you have to read subtitles a lot if you want the original voice acting cast, and also just watching some unusual films and some art house films, although I'm sketchy on the whole art house thing.
I think that's it, though, isn't it? If you're prepared to sit through a film with subtitles once, you kind of figure, oh, actually, it's not that scary. Because, I mean, we did Pan's Labyrinth and The Adventures of Adele Blanc-Sec. You know, there's subtitled films, but it didn't mean that we lost anything through having to read for 2 hours.
Completely.
You know.
Well, that's the thing with Apocalypto. I forgot I was reading. The dialogue is not complex.
Yeah.
Because we are essentially dealing with tribesmen.
Yeah.
So in terms of, although it's a subtitled film, it's not. You're not reading a lot. In all fairness, a lot of it is it comes across in translation from what they're doing physically. You can tell what kinds of emotions they're going through. I thought the cast were amazing, and the physical effects were phenomenal as well.
Locations and things are just stunning as well.
Yeah,
they're really,
beautiful.
really well done.
And they put a lot of effort into making sure it was realistic to Mayan culture, and as much as we know anyway. And so yeah, it was very interesting the way they put everything across, and I was glad I got around to seeing it. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a worthwhile watch. It might be on the show at some point for a full review. But yeah, do go and check it out if you haven't seen it before, because it is worth seeing.
Definitely.
Yeah. I've been learning to play the guitar.
What?
I've been playing guitar for about 20 years, so this is nothing new. Yeah. I'm always learning to play the guitar.
He's very good at guitar, so him saying he's learning to play the guitar is confusing me.
I got an app called Lick of the Day. It turns out it was about playing guitar. I was very disappointed.
Yeah.
But
it can't take you anywhere.
No. Basically, it's this thing that's called Lick of the Day.
Yeah.
You can download lessons for how to play guitar.
That's amazing.
And you can learn how to play guitar. I've got it. This is going to be rubbish because I'm holding an iPad up to a thing with things in. So there it is. Let it load in. And you get all of these riffs. I got the acoustic pack because I play acoustic guitar a lot. And if I do that, you press the button.
So it's like a little YouTube video.
There's a little video about what you're doing, and it's got tab with it as well.
When it works within the key, you can subtract some notes from a bar chord and create some new open chord voicings, as we do here in lick number 2.
He's got a very sort of soft voice.
A major and has a
That's because he plays acoustic guitar.
He's got a very sultry voice.
Yeah.
It's kind of sexy.
3, 4.
It's kind of very simple stuff, but it's sort of stuff that you don't always explore as well. So it's kind of, for me, it's getting me to kind of play around a bit more with the guitar. And just let me stop that so it's not going to get picked up all the time. But there's lots of different packs that you can get, and the packs aren't particularly expensive. There's all of these in there at the moment. That's
There's like quite a scrollable grid.
yeah. There's about 20 different ones of these, and they're in 2 packs. So that's the Radio Licks Volume 1, which is a rock guitar, kind of in the Bryan Adamsy style rock guitar. There's a little preview about the sort of things that you're going to get, and it just pops up in a little window down there. The only downside to this is that the guy, when you see him playing, looks like he's masturbating. That's it. But
He's got very straightened hair as well.
He has. I think that's the style. I don't know. I don't really keep up with these things. But no, it's a really nice little app, and there's a couple of free ones, I think, with each pack, so you can give it a go. And then you can download them. The first Volume 1s are always $1.99, Volume 2s are $2.99. Really nice, really good. So that's what I've been doing.
It's pretty fun.
It is, yeah.
I like the fact before we reviewed a movie and a game, we've
reviewed a
game and a movie.
Game and a movie, yeah. Imagine a cross between High School Musical 3 and whatever the film does, Dancing and Glee and all of those things.
I'd rather imagine a knife entering my belly.
Now add a few jokes to it and you've got Pitch Perfect. Which is... Which is a film I watched not expecting to like. I saw it first thing on a Saturday morning. Saturday mornings for me up until recently are the day after I've been hosting an open mic night, and I'm usually pretty almost hungover, although I don't drink. And so Saturday mornings are put whatever I can put on and just let it run in the background whilst I struggle to get out of bed. That's Saturday until about 11 o'clock.
And you chose to put that film on?
It was the first thing that was on Sky. It was Pitch Perfect.
You realise this sounds horrific.
I know, it does. It sounds terrible.
I'm into rock music and some unusual stuff and, blues, and this sounds horrific.
But what I got was actually a bit of fun, and it was quite funny. And it's the same story that you expect. An outcast who happens to be very good at singing and is actually into DJing and does her own DJing, gets put into this group of a cappella singers and has to work in order to get the a cappella singers to the concert in time to be the best that they can be. It's that same sort of story that you get in Blues Brothers and in High School Musical.
Did you just compare Pitch Perfect to Blues Brothers?
And High School Musical.
They're
getting the band back together, but at the same time, there's some really funny bits in it as well.
Okay.
And I found it more engaging than I found it a piece of fluff to just put on in the background, which I thought was why it was worth mentioning. It has actually got some few good bits of singing in there, and it's a little bit different, and it's pretty funny.
Okay.
And it's worth a watch. I mean, funny in terms of an American film, it's not laugh out loud like funny, but then very few American films are. But it's good enough, and that's what I was surprised about. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was.
That's fair enough. You realise I'm still not going to watch it.
No, I know.
I'm very close-minded about High School Musical. I shun it, basically.
I wouldn't recommend High School Musical at all.
No.
But this is different because they're at college. It's it's completely different.
This week I have been playing a game called The Legend of Grimrock. Legend of Grimrock was an indie game. It's by an indie developer called Almost Human, Finnish game developers, and it appeals to me for a very specific reason. Legend of Grimrock, the storyline covers 4 prisoners in a fantasy-esque scenario. There is some limited technology. They have airships and very complex steam and gear systems going on in the world around it. But these 4 prisoners get sentenced to death. But there is the alternative, which is as close as being sentenced to death in their land as possible, which is they get sent to Grimrock Keep, which they get flown up on an airship to the top of this mountain and cast into a pit. And those who escape Grimrock can, in fact, be they are found not guilty. Their sins, their crimes go unpunished. They are free to go. The catch being that no one has ever escaped from Grimrock, ever. For it is a layered dungeon full of tricks, traps, beasts, monsters, and creatures that none shall ever escape alive. Dun dun dun! So that's the setup for the game. It's a very simple premise in many ways, and kind of time-old tradition, similar to the very, very old games of Ultima and Dungeon Master, which were very old PC games, again in a very similar style. The reason I mention those is that Legend of Grimrock is a modern day version of those style of games. The reason you have 4 prisoners is that they are all shackled together, which means they stand in a 2x2 grouping. And as you move through the dungeon, you move forward square by square, turning and moving together as a unit. And it is very turn-based interaction with the environment, picking up objects. If you have ranged attackers in your party, if you put them at the back, the spellcasters and archers, and you'll need to put the stronger members up front, so the guys with axes and swords doing all the melee fighting. And you explore this dungeon together, these 4 criminals, which you can either pick pre-done characters from the roster, or you can make your own characters, which a lot of people do for that kind of game. It's really good fun. The animation is fluid. The graphics are stunning because it's very current graphics, and they've taken a lot of the limitations from the old style of gaming of going forward square by square by allowing the camera of these 4 characters to move in a much more fluid motion, so you can look up and down and interact with a fully 3D environment, whereas the games back in the day were all 2D. All of the enemy character animations are again extremely fluid and really fun to watch happen. You get things like groups of undead skeletons walking forwards in formation and then thrusting towards you with sort of spears and swords and things like that. And all the magic has really nice particle effects and flame effects, cast light and shadow all over the place. And some of the tricks and traps of these dungeons are phenomenal. Just lots of puzzles to work out over time, lots of interest to be had in that kind of environment if it's your kind of game. I think a lot of modern gamers would get slightly put off by the old style of controls, but if you're an older gamer with a sense of nostalgia, or you fancy doing something a little bit different from the run-of-the-mill, every single adventure tends to be the same that you get from a lot of games out there at the moment, it's a really nice change of pace, and it adds a different kind of rule set and gameplay element to what you're doing. It's out on PC and on iOS in terms of Mac laptops as well. At the moment, they are developing it for iPad still. It's actually been delayed and there is no firm release date for that. I'm kind of hoping they will, because I think it'd be fun. But they've also started work to do Legend of Grimrock 2 as well, as they made enough money off the first one, had enough success with the first one, that it's actually enabled them to do more. And there is an extremely successful modding community for it already as well. So they released a map generator, so now that there is a really good community for custom generated map from user generated maps. So not only do you get the game,
does that mean it's easier to get into that sort of modding side of it than something like Unreal Tournament, where you had to really know your stuff to be able to
as a games developer, they've released an actual a builder for maps. They've made it very accessible for people to just jump in, and if they just want to create maps and put their monsters where they want them to be, and put their traps where they think they should be, people can just get stuck right in.
I had a very similar thing
but it
with
makes it very
Bard's
open.
Tale.
Yeah.
The Bard's Tale creator was brilliant back in the day.
But yeah, it's very easy to access. It's a beautiful game, and it's really good fun to play. So I'd recommend that.
Sounds good. Well, that was this week's show. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. Please leave a comment below. If not, go away. We don't want you.
Yeah, well, I mean, or watch some of the other videos and
We do other videos.
yeah, and subscribe to them
Yeah.
instead, and click like and comment, and also if you don't like them, comment below, troll us. Go on, try it. Don't do that.
I'm putting
Don't
that
ever
in.
do it.
No, I'm leaving that in.